are back and we are talking about the Heritage Library holiday event, which is coming up December the 10th. And it is authors, it is artists, and it is afternoon tea. And I'm being joined by two amazing, I'm going to call you both educators, artisans, and historians. This is Dino, this is Michael.
Pleasure.
Dino is going to be demonstrating really a lot of the seagrass weaving, I guess is the right word. But Michael, we're dying to talk to both of you. It's been interesting. We've chatted about 3 or 4 minutes, probably a little bit more, before we started talking. And you all really are educators as much as anything.
Oh, yes.
Trying to preserve the history of the seagrass basket. Talk to us a little bit, if you will, about what you're doing. You're all over the world, and how you got into this.
Well, actually, as a lad, I was brought up in Mount Pleasant, where the baskets actually originated when they were brought from West Africa. There were 2 plantations there, which was Boone Hall Plantation and Laurel Hill.
Okay.
Our descendants came from Laurel Hill. And so the baskets were made on the plantations as a working tool. And then as our generations came down, we got decorative the way you see all the different siding. But everything is basically made functional.
So that's kind of what I wanted to ask you about. When I see it, when I see these baskets, I see a piece of art. But when you mention both, Dino, when you and Michael both mention functional, in what way? How did the slaves use these baskets?
Well, the most traditional piece was called the rice fanner, which is the large, huge one behind my head. After harvesting the rice and then drying it, beating that chaff off, they would then dump that mixture onto those large baskets and fan it in the air.
Okay.
The wind would then blow off the husk and any trash. The rice grains would fall back to the baskets. And of course, they also made baskets for storing dry goods, the rice, toting fruits and vegetables out of the fields, even holding their babies while they were in the fields working.
It's really interesting. One of the things that we were talking about that I had no idea about, and Dino was explaining, if you could explain, Michael, to the audience, a little bit about seagrass, but there are other grasses that are involved in the basket making.
So our baskets are made with 4 different materials. Of course, you have the sweetgrass, which is the major material. Our binding material is palmetto fronds from your palm trees.
Okay.
And then we also use pine needles. That gives you the coloring and contrast as well.
Look at these. Look at these.
So we try to find the longleaf pine.
They're beautiful.
So length with us is very important. We try to get things as long as we could because it'll save us from having to add materials so fast.
One of the things that you all do that's pretty impressive is you educate young people also. And you were sharing that it was a dying art. And now this is the way to keep heritage alive.
And it is. We're trying very hard to get some of our young people involved in learning how to do it because we want to pass it on to another generation. Like I mentioned earlier with me, or with us, we're about 7 generations.
Wow.
So then when it was brought from Africa on the plantations with my great-grandparents, grandparents, and after they continued passing it down, what a lot of people don't know is when they were in slavery, they were on the plantation. So after being released from the plantation, they had nowhere to go. So they had to find means of supporting themselves. So the basket was one of those things that they continued doing. If you visited Mount Pleasant and go down Highway 17 where you see all the roadside stands, that's what they did because coming from up north down south, 17 was a major route. And so that's why they built their stands and sell their wares then. And of course the baskets started evolving in more to art form. And
if people are interested in finding these, can they go online? How can they find you all? Well, first you have to go December 10th, right, to the Heritage Library.
Exactly, we want to see you there.
That's an education.
Yeah. So you could find us here at Coastal Discovery Museum at Honeyhorn on Hilton Head Island. We do have a web page, which is Gullah Baskets by Michael Smalls. And we're usually all around the place, so you can find us in different areas.
And if I tell you what, we're talking about baskets today, but one of the things you don't think about that's amazing is all the jewelry that you have is absolutely phenomenal. And like I said, when we evacuate in the Lowcountry, we take our sweetgrass baskets with us. We absolutely love them.
And we tell a lot of visitors or people that are moving here You can't live on Hilton Head or Bluffton without
Gotta
a
have
sweetgrass
that's
basket.
exactly right. Thank you both so much. Stay with us. There's a lot more to come.